prepared by our team, including the latest developments and special reports on the war in Israel. You can subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and click the super thanks button below. The Israeli army is making critical breakthroughs in the Gaza Strip to wipe out Hamas. IDF forces are currently conducting a full-scale blockade operation in almost every part of the Gaza Strip. The aim of this operation is to destroy Hamas's tunnel networks and to completely eradicate this group from the Gaza Strip. To this end, the IDF has intensified its ground offensives in the settlements of Beit Hanun, Beit Lahia, and Atatra. In other words, in the northern parts of the Gaza Strip. These operations have reached Jabalia, Al-Shati Camp, and Zaytun. There are still intense clashes between IDF forces and Hamas combatants in these areas. Under heavy pressure from the IDF, Hamas prefers to use its network of tunnels and underground passageways to carry out frequent surprise attacks. But since Hamas has lost a certain part of its 500-kilometer tunnel network, the underground mystery of the so-called Gaza Metro is slowly unraveling. The Israel Defense Forces announced that it has uncovered and destroyed nearly 400 tunnel shafts in the Gaza Strip since the start of the ground offensive. Troops from the Israeli Army's elite Yahalom Combat Engineering Unit played an important role in the destruction of Hamas tunnels. Tunnel entrances were often found deep inside civilian infrastructure in the Gaza Strip, including residential buildings, schools, hospitals, and other areas. The IDF therefore accused Hamas of using the Palestinian population in Gaza as human shields by deliberately placing its infrastructure in the civilian environment. Despite this, Hamas has engaged in black propaganda on social media, claiming that there are no underground weapons depots, command centers, or headquarters in public spaces in the Gaza Strip. But while the IDF's ground offensive continued, Hamas's efforts to discover strategic data about the tunnel networks continued. Using artificial intelligence robots, fiber optic cables, and other technological equipment, the IDF has uncovered fine details about Hamas's tunnel networks. After obtaining important information on the most important tunnel shafts in the Gaza Strip and the connection routes of these underground passageways, the IDF forces today launched a new war strategy, an attempt to submerge Hamas in the tunnels in the Strip. The IDF has begun flooding Hamas's most critical tunnel networks in the Gaza Strip by drawing seawater through connecting pipes. The seawater reaching the underground tunnels through the connecting pipes flooded Hamas resources, members, headquarters, and weapons depots. The IDF made a striking social media post about this initiative. The footage showed IDF forces opening valves to flood Hamas tunnel networks with water from the sea. The IDF also reported that a Hamas headquarters was damaged during the flooding attempt. It is currently unknown how many Hamas militants were neutralized in this critical attempt. The attempt to flood the tunnel networks will likely force Hamas out of these secret underground passages to confront IDF forces above ground in the Gaza Strip. Then, Hamas will have to fight a real battle in this line of fire as the Israeli army is currently conducting ground offensive operations in the Strip. But Hamas will probably avoid confronting IDF forces on the ground again, as it has so far lacked the courage to do so. Nevertheless, Israel has approved a short-term ceasefire during which hostages will be exchanged for prisoners. A 4-day ceasefire between the Israeli army and Hamas, brokered by Qatar, has come into effect. It is expected to include the release of 13 hostages held in Gaza, followed by the release of an unspecified number of Hamas-supporting prisoners from Israeli jails. But the IDF must remain vigilant 24/7, as it faces a dangerous militant organization. Against this backdrop, the new Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom, David Cameron, made his first visit to Israel. He was photographed visiting Kibbutz Be'eri near the Gaza border, which was devastated by a Hamas attack on October 7th. David Cameron is expected to meet with Israeli officials during his trip to the Middle East. Cameron, who chaired a meeting of the Arab and Islamic leaders in London, described the hostage release deal as an important opportunity to get the hostages out and provide more aid to Gaza to help its people. On the same day as the UK's foreign minister's visit, there has been a dramatic shift in Germany regarding the war between Hamas and the Israeli army. In its latest statement, the German Federal Ministry of the Interior reported that German police searched 15 properties in Berlin, Lower Saxony, North Rhine-Westphalia, and Schleswig-Holstein, belonging to members or supporters of Hamas. The activities of Hamas were banned in Germany in early November, while countries such as the United Kingdom and Germany declare their support for Israel in all matters. Pro-Iranian proxy militias continue to feed on chaos and confusion. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah recently met in Lebanon with Osama Hamdan and Khalil al-Hayya, the senior officials of Hamas. According to the IDF, Hayya was the head of Arab relations for the Hamas organization, while Hamdan was a senior member of Hamas's bureau. The meeting between Hezbollah and Hamas came after Israel and Hamas agreed to a 4-day suspension of hostilities in exchange for the release of 50 hostages in Gaza. This meeting process could be the basis for attempts to undermine the IDF's stance on the hostage issue and start a new round of chaos in the Gaza Strip. This is because Iran is constantly seeking to destabilize the Middle East through the use of proxy forces. Most recently, Tehran told the United States through back channels that it did not want its war to spread further, but warned Washington that regional conflict could be inevitable if Israel's attacks on Gaza continued. Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian said in an interview that messages have been exchanged between Iran and the United States over the past 40 days through the U.S. Interests section at the Swiss Embassy in Tehran. Iran, a supporter of proxy militias, also announced that it had not been informed in advance about Hamas's devastating attack on Israel on October 7th. Western powers, however, hold Tehran responsible for its extensive support for Israel's enemies, including Hamas and Lebanese Hezbollah, which they see as an important pillar of Iran's security strategy. The United States is therefore seeking to increase its extensive military presence in the Middle East, both in support of Israel and to prevent Iran's proxy forces from inflaming this war. U.S. officials even believe that Iran's support for its proxy militias could disrupt the short-term ceasefire that has been approved between Israel and Hamas. In fact, this view is quite logical. Iran, even if it is not directly involved in the war, could make such a move in order to wear down Israel and prevent U.S. support. Therefore, in the coming days, we may face a possible assault by Hamas and Hezbollah against Israel. But both Israel and the United States continue to cooperate against the